The Red Sox may have lost this series, but things might be getting back on track. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. As you can tell, we're still on an away game here. Hopefully, we should be back in the studio and bringing you guys videos again on Wednesday. So bear with me for just a couple more days. I promise you it'll get a little bit better. But either way, things did not go well for the Red Sox this weekend. They dropped 2 out of 3 games to the St. Louis Cardinals, which officially puts them below 500 for one of the first times this year, especially coming out of a series as a whole. It also puts them firmly in 4th place in this division now, and 9.5 games back of the first place in this division, for those of you who are keeping track of that at this point, but only 1.5 games out of a wild card spot. The Red Sox are still very much in this despite what they've done over the last couple of weeks. And honestly, even though the Red Sox lost this series, and it might just appear as though the Red Sox are getting back on track a little bit. So what we're going to do in today's videos, we're going to break this series down, talk about the good, talk about the bad, and how it all could affect the 2024 Red Sox. But before we get into that, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just helps it out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so we're going to start with the offense in this series because, to be honest with you, this is the first time in a little bit where the offense really did its job. They still struggled a bit with runners in scoring position, but there was a lot of really great moments from this offense, specifically from Rafael Devers, who is on an absolute tear right now. He's certainly doing his job, and he's doing it well. He had a home run in every single game of this series. That's 3 home runs in 3 games in a row, but it gets better than that. Rafael Devers has now homered in 5 straight games, which now ties the Red Sox franchise record with none other than Bobby Dahlbeck. The Red Sox really need Rafael Devers to be Rafael Devers, and so far this season he has been, but we've been sort of missing that power. He's making up for all that missed power in about a singular week. He's about as hot as a hitter could possibly be at the plate right now. This is exactly what we've been waiting for from Rafael Devers. Outside of Rafi, David Hamilton may have been the second best hitter on the team here, and I didn't think I'd ever say that in any series this season, or really any season in general. He had 4 hits in 3 games. All of them were extra base hits. He had 2 doubles, a triple, and a home run, and I have absolutely no idea what changed or how, but that is a ton of production at the plate from Hamilton. Him turning a corner would be absolutely incredible, especially with Vaughn Grissom still starting to get his feet under him. I know a lot of people are growing impatient. It's been 2 weeks. Let's give Grissom a little bit of time to get himself right again, especially having come back from the flu. There's a lot of things going on with Grissom, but having Hamilton in here, if he could do well, could really help this offense get back to scoring a whole lot of runs like we saw at the beginning of the year. Tyler O'Neill, also a major part of this Red Sox offense, also had a pretty good series. His return to St. Louis included a hit in all 3 games he played, at least including a home run in the last game. It was really nice to see him put together productive at-bats consistently. He had been really struggling with that lately. I have a feeling he's going to end up a lot like Duvall last year or Hunter Renfroe in the past, right, where they have these sort of peaks and valleys, and at the end of the day, the peaks outweigh the valleys, and hopefully what we saw from O'Neill in this series was the end of one of those valleys and the start of one of those peaks. Finally, Connor Wong continues to just be Mr. Consistent at the plate. 4 hits in the first game, 2 hits in the last game, and a walk. What's really great about Wong right now is he's just taking what's given to him, right? He's not trying to do too much at the plate. He's just trying to hit the ball where it may lie, right? He's not trying to pull everything. He's not trying to hit everything to the opposite field. He's just scattering it all over the place, and it's really, really working out. Connor Wong continues to be one of the best hitters in the Red Sox lineup, and you look at this offense overall throughout the series as a whole, and I'm extremely encouraged for a couple of different reasons. One, because in two out of the 3 games, you scored more than 5 runs, which you really hadn't been doing in the entire month of May so far, right? You had that game against the Twins. You got a couple of games against the Rays. We get close to crossing that 6-run barrier, but you haven't really done that. In this series, you were able to do that twice, which is a really good sign. I know St. Louis has their issues, but it's still nice to see that happen. I also really loved that role players in this series were getting the job done. Garrett Cooper had a big hit in this series. Dom Smith had a big hit in this series. We talked about Hamilton and Wong, guys who are sort of secondary players when it comes to who's the big names in your lineup, but still really important. And what we've been seeing missing a lot in the past couple of weeks from the Red Sox is production from those guys. Well, they got that in this series, and it's really starting to look like the offense is starting to put itself together a little bit. Again, there were moments, especially in the game where they only scored 2 runs, where you're sitting there and they had those opportunities and they couldn't get it done. But I'm going to take the steps as positive. I think you look at what this offense did for the first time, basically this entire month, it's hard to blame this series loss on the offensive side of the ball. And to me, that's positive, right? I know it's hard to take a loss and say, oh, there's good things to come from this Red Sox team. But when you have a team that's struggling so mightily offensively, to have a game like they had in the last game of this series where they really just exploded offensively could start that momentum rolling again that we saw them build at the beginning of this season. So I personally, I'm encouraged by these losses. I know that sounds crazy to say, but it's either that or you sit here and you continue to be miserable, and I just can't do that anymore. So I'm going to take the positives out of these Red Sox losses and say that the Red Sox offense looks like it did when it was really sort of firing on all cylinders in April. Hopefully, this is the start of another momentum building stretch here for the Red Sox for the rest of the month, because they really desperately needed it, and it can't come at a better time. So I'm happy with where the offense is at. I know they lost these games, but it's still an encouraging sign to see. The pitching, on the other hand, honestly, for maybe the first time this entire year, was sort of the reason the Red Sox lost this one. Brayan Bello came in and he had a pretty rough start. He ended up going 4 2/3 innings, allowing 5 earned runs and 3 home runs on 7 hits. He didn't walk anyone though, and he did strike out 4. He was just flat out missing spots a lot. I think that this kind of thing just sort of happens when you have a pitcher still developing like Brayan Bello, right? Every once in a while, you're going to have a pitcher that just doesn't have his good stuff. There are some concerning signs here with Bello. I'm not going to lie to you, right? He's giving up a ton of home run when he misses his spots. You saw it in Oakland. You're seeing it here in St. Louis, where when he misses his spots, he's very hittable. He needs to get to a level where, hey, if you miss your spot, you're still going to miss some bats, and you will get punished once in a while, but you're not going to give up 3 home runs in a game. I'm not overly concerned with Bello overall. Again, I think this is sort of what you're going to see throughout the development process as he continues to grow into the pitcher we expect him to become. So nothing super crazy there, just really wasn't a good start. I do hate that because the Red Sox, and really a lot of people have linked Bello and Pedro so closely, everyone expects a Pedro level start every time Bello goes out on the mound. It's just, they're not the same person. It's tough to expect the greatest pitcher of all time type stuff from a guy who's only in his second year in Major League Baseball. In the second game, we got Cutter Crawford, who continues to look solid. He went 5 2/3 innings, allowing just 1 earned on 6 hits, struck out 5 and walked 2. That right there is the Cutter we know and love. He was a bit off in the Rays series, so it's good to see him back on his feet. Again, you need him and Houck to really sort of just stabilize this rotation right now, and that's exactly what Cutter did in this one. Nick Pivetta also looked very good in this series. He went 6 innings, allowed just 1 singular hit that did happen to be a home run, didn't walk anyone, and struck out 8. Honestly, kind of a masterclass from Pivetta here. I really think his first outing back was just to shake off some of the rust. He came all the way back here. I also like that Cora took him out when he did. I saw some people upset with that, but remember, back from an elbow strain, right? It's not like he had a hamstring issue or anything like that. And with where baseball is at right now and where the Red Sox were at in that game, it makes sense. You're going to be a little bit cautious and say, hey, Nick, great job out there. You still gave us 6 innings. You actually diced up the St. Louis Cardinals. Let's make sure you stay healthy and get you out of the game. But either way, Pivetta looked absolutely fantastic. He's looked fantastic in 2 out of the 3 starts since he came back. And I really think it was just a shaking off of the rust, and we're about to get a really, really interesting rest of the season from Nick Pivetta. So overall, you take a look at the starting pitching. Some good, some really good, and some not so good. But what I really think is the big highlight here in terms of the reason the Red Sox lost this series, you guys could correct me in the comment section down below, is the bullpen, which for the first time this season, we could say had a pretty big role in why the Red Sox lost. You had guys like Weiser who gave up 2 earned. You had Slayton who gave up a ton, 4 earned in just 1 inning. Cam Boozer gave up 2 earned. And Chase Anderson gave up 3 earned as well. Again, this is really sort of the first time this has happened this season, and to me, this is why I'm taking positives out of these losses. The bullpen has been really solid this entire year. It just didn't have a good series in this one, right? It's hopefully an isolated incident. Maybe the Cardinals just had these guys tickets, or maybe they just had an off season or an off weekend, right? Maybe it's just a couple of things and they're going to go back to being what they were. I will say I'm wondering if there's any validity to the fact that they've been used a whole lot so far early this year, and especially with guys who are more new, more green to Major League Baseball, if teams are starting to figure them out a little bit. Slayton's had a couple of rough ones in a row. Weiser's been giving up a couple of runs lately. Boozer, these are all players who are brand new to Major League Baseball. I think it's a possibility that because they've been so exposed, teams are starting to get used to what they're throwing, and this potency that we've seen, this dominance that we've seen from the bullpen a little bit, is going to have to shift and adjust with it. I'm very curious to see how that's going to work with a lot of these younger, newer, greener players that the Red Sox have in there that are mainstays of this bullpen. How does Slayton, Weiser, Boozer adjust to teams adjusting to them? If they can do that, and I think Andrew Bailey will really be able to help with that, this bullpen should be absolutely fine. So that's why when I take a look at this series overall, yes, the Red Sox lost it. Yes, this isn't, yes, the Red Sox are really not in a good spot right now in terms of this month and against competent baseball teams, but I still think there are positive takeaways. Again, had the bullpen been able to do their job in this one, you come out with a series win. You come out of St. Louis looking a whole lot better than when you went in. And if they had done their job, I think the whole story here would be the Red Sox offense finally coming to life a bit. Unfortunately, that did not happen, and you end up in the loss column. And Red Sox fans are sitting there saying, oh, it's another bad series. This Red Sox team is terrible. But I think they're about to turn things back around. Again, I have faith in Andrew Bailey in this bullpen. I have faith that the Red Sox offense, especially with Rafael Devers, obviously he's not going to stay that hot forever, but he really can be a major factor in this team's success. And the fact that he's right now, to me, is really encouraging. So I look at all of this. I look at this series as a whole, and I say, yeah, it sucks they lost. I think there's better days to come, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of all this? What did you think of this Red Sox series? Was there anything good to take away? Are we on the same page here, or are you in the exact opposite direction where you're saying, how in the world, Corbin, are you positive that the Red Sox lost a series against St. Louis? Let me know all your thoughts on the latest Red Sox series in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. It just helps it out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the red seats.